Just Attorney Hillar Moore is in the house. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How about you?
Doing very well as well.
Good to see you at Rotary. It was a really good talk, interesting talk yesterday.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
we normally cover a lot of the same. Well, statistically, what he covered granularly.
And I think the most thing that he showed you the graph of the increase,
Yes.
but then of the decline.
All right. So let me reset the table here for. Yesterday at the Rotary Club, we had someone from the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office who tackles drugs.
Major Tanner Jenkins.
That's right, Major Tanner Jenkins, who was breaking down the fentanyl overdose deaths over the course of the last decade plus, whatnot. And we're actually seeing the trend hopefully starting to turn.
Way down.
And when he put up the numbers that showed where we're at for a quarter of the way through this year,
right,
I actually got a little bit excited because what we saw from, let's say, 2016 to 2020 was a ridiculous increase of record number deaths year after year after year after year.
Doubling the homicide rates.
Yes. And then 2022 and 2023 were both on the downturn.
2020, that's when we began.
23 and 24 were the downturn. And now in 2025, we're at fewer than 30 and we're already into May.
Right. And
I'm sure there's still some floating with test results that have to come back and whatnot.
That's correct.
But where we are right now, we are down by well over 3/4.
Yeah, I was going to say 75%.
Yeah. So your way makes more sense when you're actually listening. But yes.
Yeah. So if you remember that graph, it started many, many years ago when we were alarmed when we had 12 to 20 fentanyl overdose deaths. That's when we actually went to the legislature to say we are really in bad shape because we had never seen deaths before. It was kind of like heroin back in the day. And then when that law was changed, we saw that heroin go away and the fentanyl came back and you saw the number just drastically increase. And then we're about a 75% reduction from our peak. And we hope again, we're at 25% below this year, below last year. So every year it's been significant numbers of a decrease, which is a good thing.
Let's talk about the why behind the decrease, because there are numerous factors that go on here. First of all, the increase is because the market was just flooded with it. It wasn't like people were seeking fentanyl, and this isn't like fentanyl that you'd get in the hospital. This is just straight poison. But it wasn't like you weren't seeking, oh, give me fentanyl, I want to overdo it. This is more like someone going to buy marijuana, someone go buy cocaine, somebody buy any other drug out there, and then the fentanyl was like laced into it as some kind of kicker, I guess.
So I would leave the marijuana part out probably, but pills for sure. And sometimes there are a group of people who want fentanyl, and others are getting pills that they want, but are getting fentanyl, and they not necessarily know that they're getting it because it's in a pressed. But you also saw I think the most important thing is the graphic of where the precursor materials are coming from China, Russia, a little bit Canada, but China, Russia particularly, and they go straight to Mexico, and that's what Mexico uses to make the fentanyl. And so that, we talked before, this is uniquely an American problem because we're the only ones that are dying generally from fentanyl. It's not a European thing. It's coming. China and Russia know what they're doing by sending the precursors to Mexico, and they know that it's coming into the United States to kill Americans.
Why? Why is it just us? Are they targeting us, or is it just we're the only ones who are buying?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're happy to be killing Americans because of policy and politics.
Okay.
And so I think they know that, and look at the numbers that they've killed. I mean, and not a single shot fired, and they've killed hundreds of Americans.
That's a really good point.
And we would buy it. And so I think he also did a good job outlining, why the numbers are down. And he
so let's talk about that because that's an important part of the equation as well. And you elaborate. Go ahead.
So, look, to his credit, he did not take credit saying, "Hey, this is all me," despite the numbers that he has of how many busts he's made.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a hard time as the DA's office keeping up with his cases. And his cases are solid. They're on video. They're recorded. They're undercover buys. I mean, they're great cases, but they're extremely bulky because of the number of people and number of drugs, and nobody wants to plead guilty to anything. And now the law is pretty strict on what you're going to get for fentanyl.
Yes.
At a certain amount. But he also mentioned the street outreach workers that are going out there to the person and getting to them. And then he mentioned Narcan.
So with the Narcan, I'm curious about that. Do we know anything about the psychology of those who have had to have the Narcan before? Can you be scared out of a fentanyl, scared of addiction once you have to have that Narcan?
I think that's a personal question.
Yeah.
Most folks that are addicted to whatever it is, whether it's alcohol, drugs, the fear of the jail is really not a big motivator.
Right.
So our program is called When You Are Ready.
Yes.
Because if you're not ready, you're not ready. You go to jail all you want. If you're not ready, you're still not be fixed. So that's a big part of what we do. But Narcan, man, you've seen, I don't know if you've seen it work, but it is absolutely immediate.
No, I have not.
Immediate reversal.
Okay. So if the fear of jail isn't a motivator, I would imagine like dying and coming back to life would be.
You would think so. But we've learned that those who do take fentanyl, they want the highest of high they can get, and they do seek the dealer who deals the deadly dose because they believe they're stronger than the person that died.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really a matter of when you're ready. And if you're ready, you're ready. But a lot's going into it. And so we're really proud of that number particularly, but proud of the work that the Sheriff's Office is doing.
District Attorney Hillar Moore is our guest. We're talking a little bit about fentanyl deaths, fentanyl overdoses. A couple of things, takeaways from that presentation yesterday was when he was showing the pictures and the video of the busts.
Yes.
I don't know how to put this any other way. A lot of really nice neighborhoods.
Not only that, but did you see the number of guns that are associated?
Did I ever?
So
arsenal's worth.
So when we talk about drugs and people that are possessing drugs, and we get criticized often, we as prosecutors get criticized often for why are you prosecuting this person, for drugs? Well, we try not to prosecute a user, someone who's addicted. We try to get them help. But when you saw the multiple pictures that he had with the drugs, the scales, and then the gun, because this is a dangerous business. Dealing drugs is an extremely dangerous business.
It's also an extremely cash heavy business. There's a lot of cash on those tables as well. And I couldn't help but look at all those pictures and think, because one of the things he talked about was they can use the cash that they confiscate in the bus in order.
Correct. Yeah. So you saw the numbers of seizures of money that he seized.
Yes.
So once he seizes the money, they put that money into an account. And then the DA's office is notified of the seizure. The district attorney does the paperwork and legal proceedings to get the money. Sheriff's office receives 60% of the proceeds, and then the rest goes to, I think the DA's office receives 12%. Then other entities, it may even be public defender, I'm not sure, receive some other portions of that money. And the lady that works for our office, our assistant DA, has worked her tail off the last 2 years and really has an impact on that. I think impacting drug dealers in the pocketbook is extremely important.
So yes, because the intent of being a drug dealer is to make money. I mean, they're not in it just to see somebody get high. And they're in it to make money.
Not a lot of taxes paid.
It's a cash business.
And it's a lot of cash. And we do seize bank accounts that they're putting money in, and it works out.
Well, and a lot of this stems back to legislation that was passed just a couple of years ago. I remember it was Representative Stefanski.
Correct.
Was the one that carried the legislation. I remember you were at the press conference when the bill was signed. Sheriff Gautreaux was there as well. Yeah. We all were on full force in support of this thing. I think now we can look back on that piece of legislation and say it's working.
Absolutely. And also with regard to the overdose deaths, that we are looking at people that have dealt the deadly dose and charging them when appropriate with homicide. Still a tough case. So you need a lot of evidence to show that. And not everyone that dies of fentanyl overdose, there's a murder associated with it. It's rare.
Yep. Because
of the evidence that's necessary for that.
But it's rare, but it does exist. We got to take a quick break. We're going to come back. District Attorney Hillar Moore's in the house. And when you see the confiscated drug money go back into fighting drugs, it's not, that doesn't mean the district attorney's office is flush by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to talk about that end Next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Yeah, that was where I was going with that. Was when I saw that cash, I'm like, damn. And Hillar, get your hands on that.
Yeah. We get the least amount, but we do the work. But we do the legal work. They do the difficult work. And you see them busted in the doors, and then you see the guns on the other side. That's not a good scenario. But as he told you, these guys plan and they fight each other all week on these mats.
Oh yeah,
they work their tails off. What's up? I heard Reverend IRC this morning preaching. Praying for peace. I'm gonna come see him and give him some.
Thanks for the invite Saturday.
Yeah.
We play. My son's in the state championship.
I know that. Yeah.
In Covington.
Yeah, I heard that.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be back in town with that.
I need to send you that too at Thai Kitchen Saturday night at 7.
Tell you exactly where I'm gonna be. I'll
basketball.
be at 1600 Marquette or 660 Marquette Avenue. Our Lady of Mercy Fair.
Oh, yeah. It's the Mercy Fair?
Mercy Fair, St. Thomas More Fair, St. Alphonsus Fair.
I knew St. Alphonsus.
The Festival of Two Rivers.
Alphonsus, Mercy, and
St. Thomas More.
Damn.
Yeah.
I need to write that down somewhere.
Why you be making the rounds? Reminding people to step away from the Ferris wheel and go vote.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I promised him I'd never bring it up again. And since we're on Facebook, I'm going to do it one more time.
Okay.
2 years ago, Mercy Fair, Saturday was the same Saturday Garth Brooks was playing Tiger Stadium.
Ooh, really?
Jordan Faircloth.
Yep.
Lost by 1 vote. And he was out at Mercy
that was
night.
The day.
He was out at Mercy the night before, campaigning, shaking hands and whatnot.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. He's out at the Garth Brooks concert. Hey, did you go vote today? Nah, completely forgot.
I'll be darned.
1 vote. Yeah.
And I think Judge Myers won by 2 or 3 votes, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Was it 2? Was it 23 or 22? It was either 2 or 3 years ago. I'm trying to remember now. I remember because Mercy decided they weren't going to pay for a band on Saturday night because everybody was going to be at Garth Brooks. So I ended up DJing the fair. Yeah. Threw down, by the way. Threw down. We had it was a walk through 90s hip hop.
Hope LSU can take 2 out of 3 this weekend.
I'm hoping so. I don't know what Texas A&M is right now. It's because they were dog poo.
Number 1 in the nation first.
Number 1 in the nation, then dog poo, and then hot, and then Texas dismantled them. And we held our own against Texas. We played a good game and a half against Texas.
Yeah. Man, that Sunday pitcher for us was unbelievable this past weekend.
Evans?
Yeah. Look, Southeastern Tuesday is no slouch. They're in 15 RPI. LSU, you can't ever count LSU out of a game.
Okay, and I think that the fact that they're that good played into our favor. Like, number 1, you dialed out the week before, and that was terrible. So they were going to right that wrong. But number 2, I think LSU does worse against like slower pitchers.
Because
it throws the timing off.
Has always been the case.
Yeah. If you're throwing 91, 92, you're getting yoinked out the yard.
That has always been.
But if you're throwing 87, 88, the timing's off. You see a lot of balls get, pulled foul.
Yeah.
So, tell you who I've got my eye on this year, though, is the softball team. When they're rolling, they are rolling.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for Beth.
That's a good lady.
I know. She's been nothing but awesome since being
we hired the coach from Alabama that turned and then turned us down and went to Alabama.
Yeah.
So yeah, Beth's a very nice lady.
.856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Got just a couple minutes left with District Attorney Hillar Moore. We're talking about the fight against fentanyl and how we're starting to see some wins here, with the number of overdose deaths dropping, with the number of arrests rising, but with the number of arrests rising, the inevitable side effect of that is that's a lot more work on your office.
A lot of cases we want to see them make the arrest.
Absolutely you do, but we don't. What we don't want to see is not having the man hours to cover them.
Yeah, they're very difficult, time-consuming cases. We work with them very well. We would like to have a much larger staff to deal with them, and in fact, dedicate ADAs just to their unit.
Mm-hmm.
They have a 38-man unit. I have 54 ADAs. So you heard him yesterday. They have 38 people in that unit now. I have 54 ADAs. It's
total.
It's hard to keep up. Yeah, with that. So that's kind of where we are. And if we were able to pass the tax Saturday, we will at least able to get 15 more assistant DAs and then all the support staff that goes with that.
Yeah,
and surely pay a lot more attention to those cases.
So coming up Saturday, give us one more time the details of what the tax is.
It's a property tax, costs less than $5 a month. I know people are tired of taxes, tired of elections like me and everyone else. I've tried every way that I could over the past 17 years to be properly funded and not ever able to get there. I do have the ability to ask for my own tax, which I had to do because there's no other way out. But we're hemorrhaging now people to other offices that are being paid more, less trust, less cases. And I have some very critical cases here and a huge backlog. And this is the only way that I can adequately ensure the people that I'm going to do my job and protect the public.
Why? It's a long time coming. You've held off on this for some time.
It's 17 years. It's been since the beginning of the budget has remained the same.
Yeah.
Although healthcare cost and technology has increased so much and exploded since I became in office.
Mm-hmm.
Cell phones and DNA have just exploded. Social media has exploded, and we just don't have the funds to keep up with that at this point.
Well, and that's an important part of the equation, though. District Attorney Hillar Moore, we got about a minute left, but that's an important part of the equation, though, is all these things can help make arrests, but they add to the workload of helping me or needing to make the conviction. The arrest isn't the whole equation.
Right. The arrest takes maybe a month or 2 months, as Tanner indicated. For me, that will take me maybe a year to 3 years.
Right.
So it gets longer and longer, and fighting, in court with defense lawyers, etc., and witnesses not wanting to cooperate. It's a tough job.
Yeah. And an important part of reducing crime overall is making sure that the arrest isn't the end of the discussion. The conviction is.
And arrest is based on probable cause versus beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a huge change. Huge difference.
Coming up Saturday, that will be on your ballot. Saturday is an election day. Saturday's a busy day.
Yes. Very busy.
A lot going on Saturday.
Hopefully people can get out and see it, see what we need to consider voting for the tax, and we will use that money wisely.
He is District Attorney Hillar Moore. I greatly appreciate you stopping by.
Sir. Thank you, man.